Hello everyone, so the guys spend some time on study and see if I can do it. There are three ways to measure the sales of your products. Dollars, units, equivalized unit. Unit sales are the number of package, box, cans, bottle, pouch, etc. bought by consumers, and dollar sales are unit times the price paid per unit. Equivalized sales are unit sales converted to a common measure like pound or cases. If you looking at a product level that contains things of different size, you want to use EQ as the physical volume measure. Dollar and unit sales are available on all databases, while EQ is usually an upgrade. Even EQ is available in basic database. Sometimes it just repeats the unit values, and sometimes the products are not equivalized to the same thing. Distribution. We have written a lot about distribution. People cannot buy a product if it is not available in stores. Percentage ACV is available on both syndicated and custom data. And total distribution points and average items can be created on all database. You may need some help from your Nelson's circular client service team for this. Also take a look at this previous post about this very important topic. Distribution 1, distribution 2, how to identify distribution voice. percentage ACV distribution measures the breadth of distribution of a product, kind of like percentage of store selling, but bigger stores get heavier weight. A point of distribution in the total US is worth more than a point of distribution in Chicago, which is worth more than a point of distribution in Des Moines.
This is a city that was originally named by the French Fort Des Moines. It was incorporated in 1851, and later its name was shortened to Des Moines. Des Moines.
Des Moines. Des Moines. Des Moines. Keep in mind that just because an item is authorized does not mean it is in distribution. The item must gain at least once during the period to be counted as in distribution. Note, percentage ACV distribution is not additive across product, market, or periods. See, okay. All commodity volume, commonly refers to as ACV, is the annual dollar sales of everything sold in the store. Annual dollar sales. Any dollar sales, everything sold in the store. Although its measure is rarely used by itself, it is the key component used to calculate how much the market is covered. Related measures include percentage ACV distribution, all about ACV. Percentage ACV merchandising, sales per $1 million. It's ACV. All about ACV. Earlier this year, we received a frustrated email from a reader. He wrote, "Once and for all, I would like to know exactly what ACV is. You hear several definitions depending on the site you visit. Then I would like to know how to calculate it, what it tells me, and why suppliers should care. A great list of questions about an important CPG metric. First, what is ACV? ACV stands for all commodity volume. It is total retail dollar sales from an entire store across all the products and categories. In the world of CPG, it is a common way to measure the size of the store or retailer rather than a measure of physical size like square footage. ACV reflects how much total business is done in that store. Why would a supplier of a specific product care about overall retailer ACV? If you're looking to expand distribution, ACV to prioritize opportunities. Generally speaking, the bigger the retailer's volume, the bigger the sales potential for your product. And ACV trends will give you perspective on business health and growth for that retailer. One source for data retailer ACV is industry trade. One source for data on retailer ACV is industry trade publication and company annual report. For example, here is a progressive grocer ranking of the top 50 supermarket chains, which includes information on total sales. Progressive grocer. Progressive Grocer is a media brand and information provider for the food retail industry. Known as the #1 media brand in the grocery industry. Founded in 1922, it offers authoritative news, trend analysis, consumer insights, and content on technology and retail strategies to grocery chains or supply chain partners. The brand also hosts events such as Grocery Impact and Grocery Tech events, and runs award programs like Top Woman in Grocery. What Progressive Grocery provides: industry news and analysis. They deliver need-to-know news, thought leadership, and exclusive interviews related to food retail, covering trend, consumer insights, and technology. Business intelligence. As a leading provider of business intelligence for the industry, they offer research-based content to help grocery professionals make decisions. Award and recognition. Progressive Grocer hosts programs like Top Woman in Grocery and Top Independent Grocer awards to celebrate innovation and excellence within the industry. Events and training. They produce events such as Grocery Impact and Grocery Tech and offer tailored training to retailers. Community and networking. Okay. If you purchase a Nielsen circular database, you can calculate the total retailer ACV across all products, even you are buying data only for one specific category. Awards are posts on how to into that ACV estimate. So what exactly what ACV is? Seems pretty straightforward, right? Why would my reader feel confused by seemingly different definitions? Probably because ACV is also an input to most commonly used syndicated distribution measures called percentage ACV, aka ACV weighted distributions. Sometimes when people use the term ACV, they really mean what? They really mean percentage ACV. We have written down buckets of posts about percentage ACV. Start with this one. So I'm not going to into details. But I do want to illustrate how percentage ACV is calculated and how it relates to a raw ACV and how is it linked to weight distribution. This is a simple example of a market made of 3 stores. So how big is the market overall? Total market ACV 40 times 60 times 80. That will be 180 million stores. What is the distribution for product X? So there are two answers depending on you're looking on weight or at weight distribution. On weight, there will be percentage of stores selling. There will be 2 divided to 3, there will be 67%. ACV weighted distribution, so is percentage ACV 60 plus 80 divided by 180, there will be 78%. Percentage ACV distribution is calculated by looking at total ACV in stores where a product is scanned, divided by the total ACV for the market. Because product X sold in the 2 larger stores in this 3-store market, its ACV distribution is higher than its percentage of stores selling. Why is percentage ACV considered a more insightful measure of distribution for your product? Because it represents your exposure to consumer spending. Sales potential in a high ACV store is theoretically better for every product, including yours. So you want to get your product more distribution credit for selling in those higher ACV stores. But ACV used to calculate percentage ACV because ACV is used to calculate percentage ACV distribution. You will see the term ACV in other measures as well as promotion measures and velocity measures. Because ACV is used to calculate percentage ACV distribution, you will see the term ACV in other measures as well as promotion measures and velocity measures. It all comes back to using ACV to weight distribution. So no matter what the measure, so if you understand the concept, and then you will understand everything you need to know about ACV using in syndicated data. I will end this nerdy side note. I will end on this nerdy side note. That may be of interest to some data obsessed reader. When Nelson and Circular calculate that ACV that they are used for weighting, they exclude some departments like lottery and pharmacy and gasoline because not all the stores have those departments. Because of that, Nelson's circular ACV for retail may not match the retail sales number reported in annual reports or other source. Contact your data supplier for the specific list of departments, include or exclude the ACV number. Note that ACV is usually updated on an annual basis. second most important measure, percentage ACV distribution. You probably consider dollars the most important measure, and it is the bottom line. But the number one driver of dollar sales is distribution. After all, shoppers cannot buy something that is not in the store. Used properly, percentage ACV distribution will give you the answer to the critical business question like, are there any retailers that are not carrying our item? Our number one item. Are we meeting the distribution goal we set for our new product? Which retailers are selling at least one of the new items? My broker is saying sales are down because we are losing distribution. How can I tell it is true? What is really happening in the store? So what exactly does percentage ACV means, and how is it calculated? Percentage ACV is often just abbreviated percentage ACV. Especially when talking about it verbally. It's generally being thought as percentage of store selling, but with stores weighted based on their size. In other words, you get more credit for being in larger stores than in smaller ones. The size of stores is based on annual sales of everything the store sells for all commodity volume. When Nelson's and Circular calculate ACV, they don't count things like pharmacy, lottery, and gasoline, since not all the stores have these features. Percentage ACV distribution is calculated as the dollar value of stores in which a product has scanned in the geography divided by the dollar value of all the stores in that geography. Let's repeat that. A product must scan in a store for it to count as being distribution there. If it is on shelf but doesn't sell or is supposed to be there because it's out of stock, it doesn't count being in distribution. In this picture, retailers is out of stock on several items, even though there are shelf tags for these items. In Nelson's and Circular, these products are not counted in distribution because they won't scan it at the register. So here is an example of how ACV is calculated. Let's say Anytime USA is made up of 3 retailers as follows. So if brand A is scanned in Fun Foods and Smart stores, it is in 80% of the stores, but it has 90% ACV distribution. So just remember, percentage ACV is just like percentage of stores selling, but you get more credit for big store than small ones. Want to know how the heck
Heck.
percentage ACV distribution is actually calculated? Percentage ACV distribution is really basic measure, but it can be tricky using analysis. Here are the 5 most important things to remember about percentage ACV distribution. It gets triggered by a scan, not by whether the product is actually sitting on shelf right this second. Just because a retailer has authorized a product, it doesn't mean that product is available in all of its stores, so people can buy it. Distribution is measured by IRI Nielsen when a product is actually scanned in a store. ACV distribution cannot be added across market or period or product. You must use the product, market, period available on your database elsewhere. Otherwise, the measure is incorrect. You should know this quickly by when distribution show up greater than 100%. It is known in the biz as long additive effect. Unless your product is perishable, it's best to look at distribution for periods longer than a single week. The longer purchase cycle for your product, the longer the period should be. For example, if people tend to buy your category only a few times per year, and the product does not expire, it is possible that the product in distribution has not scanned in a week. This is highly unlikely to total US and market levels, but can occur in a retailer level, especially for a specific item. For most frequently purchased products, I recommend looking at the recent 4-week distribution, and for slower moving products, the most recent 12 weeks. Be careful when looking at a 52 week distribution number. For long periods, there are aggregates from small chunks. distribution can be calculated as either an average or maximum over all weeks in that period. You can see how it does give an accurate representation of current distribution if a product's distribution is growing or declining rather than relatively stable. Okay, that's it. See you next time.